Just 2 weeks away from the nation's midterm elections, a series of pipe bombs, or I suppose I should say pipe bombs, as several of them were reportedly designed not to explode, were mailed to several prominent Democrats and randomly Robert De Niro. It started with a suspicious package in George Soros's mailbox in New York on Monday, though some reports claim that the package did not actually go through the post office and might have actually been delivered by a courier service. On Tuesday, a package with a bomb arrived for Hillary Clinton, but was intercepted by the Secret Service. Then on Wednesday, Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York, told the media that he got a device too. He mentioned it during a press conference, presumably to drum up some attention, but then that device turned out to actually just be a thumb drive with information about the Proud Boys, who he had ordered his people to investigate. Meanwhile, Obama received a package at his home in Washington, D.C., as did Eric Holder, except Eric Holder's package was actually found at the offices of Debbie Wasserman Schultz down in Miami due to a problem with the mailing address. Another package was sent to former CIA Director John Brennan and was sent to the offices at CNN in New York City, even though he's actually the security analyst for NBC. This package also came with an envelope of suspicious powder, which was later deemed to not be a biological threat. The same day, Maxine Waters also received 2 bomb packages, one at her district office in California and another at her office on Capitol Hill. On Thursday, 2 packages addressed to Joe Biden were intercepted in Delaware, and one was sent to Robert De Niro at his restaurant in New York. For some reason. Friday, the FBI said that they found a potential device in Florida addressed to Cory Booker. New York police also intercepted a similar package addressed to former intelligence director James Clapper. It was addressed to Clapper and again sent to CNN, where he's a contributor. Most of the packages were intercepted by Secret Service agents or law enforcement or were otherwise found at the post office before they could be mailed to their intended targets. The packages were mailed in manila envelopes with bubble wrap, 6 forever stamps, computer-printed address labels, and with a return address misspelling Debbie Wasserman Schultz. The bombs were all crude in design and were, according to reports, generally poorly made. Each device consisted of a piece of PVC pipe with low explosive powder similar to that found in fireworks. Each one also had a digital timer and was filled with what looked like shrapnel. Law enforcement are treating them as live devices, but have stopped short of actually calling them live devices. Right now, it's unclear how many of the bombs were duds, but investigators say that several of them had major flaws that would have prevented them from detonating. At this point, it's assumed that all of the packages were mailed or at least made by the same person. As of early Friday afternoon, when I'm recording this, the FBI took a suspect into custody for questioning and have named him as 56-year-old Cesar Sayoc Jr. An ABC News special report from around 11 a.m. Friday said that the FBI was able to get some forensic evidence from one of the packages, but we don't know what exactly that evidence was. Investigators say that Sayoc drove a van covered with pictures of President Trump, which was seized earlier today. Since recording this video, more information about Sayoc has been released. So far, we know that he claims to be Seminole Indian, but is actually Filipino and Italian. Previous neighbors describe him as a churchgoer, a bodybuilder, and a dancer at male strip clubs. The media has been quick to point out that he is, in fact, a registered Republican as of 2016. But he has a long criminal history spanning nearly 3 decades, long before Trump and long before he registered as a Republican. He has 8 prior arrests and was even placed on probation for a year after making a bomb threat back in 2002. Other charges include fraud, grand theft, battery, larceny, and drug possession of both crack cocaine and steroids. According to both his former attorney and a cousin, he's homeless and has been living in his van. 2 more devices were found later on Friday, including one for Kamala Harris. We have also now learned that each package contained a picture of the addressee marked with a red X. Several people, including a former boss and his lawyer, have described him as mentally ill. His LinkedIn page lists him as a promoter, choreographer, and booking agent for both male strip shows and burlesque shows in the Miami area. The page also claims several bachelor's degrees in biology, finance, business, and economics, as well as claiming he is currently in a veterinary medicine program to become a horse doctor. The page also claims that his grandfather perfected a cosmetic eyelid procedure, invented most of the world's surgical instruments, overthrew the communists in the Philippines, and built every hospital on the islands. His Twitter account, now suspended, listed him as a former professional soccer player, a wrestler, and a cage fighter. He also frequently wrote gibberish tweets threatening to throw people off of an airboat in the Everglades. As for how people are responding, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio has responded by increasing the local police presence, sending out cops in full battle gear and rifles. Not sure how that's supposed to help. Many on the left have taken to blaming Trump directly, pointing out that all of the targets have been critics of Trump, and suggesting that his Twitter feed has been acting as some sort of secret hit list for who the bomber should be targeting. Many on the right are suggesting instead that this is a false flag operation, or that liberals planted the bombs in order to gain sympathy and stir up voters ahead of the midterms. Their proof, they say, is based mostly on the fact that the bombs didn't work. Major politicians on both sides of the aisle are calling the packages acts of domestic terrorism. Trump has made several statements condemning the violence and making calls for unity. Several prominent Democrats have called Trump's remarks hollow and insincere and are demanding that he apologize for past calls to violence. That being said, Trump does say a lot of bad things that he probably shouldn't say, but I personally have never heard him call for mail bombs to be sent to his political opponents, so I don't really see what an apology is supposed to do. Trump is not to blame on this one. Only the person making and sending the bombs is to blame. If I say in one of my videos that I can't stand Attorney General Maura Healey, and you decide to go attack her, that doesn't mean that I ordered the attack, and it doesn't mean that the attack is my fault. That's not how it works. And let's not forget, just a couple of weeks ago, Hillary Clinton said that Republicans are hell-bent on destroying the American way of life and deserve no civility. And a couple months ago, Maxine Waters called for Trump officials to be run out of town and mobbed anytime they were seen in public. And there have been attacks on both the left and the right. There was the Bernie Sanders supporter who opened fire on the congressional baseball field, nearly killing Steve Scalise. Susan Collins has been receiving threats of violence and even rape. Numerous prominent conservatives have been run out of restaurants and coffee shops. A California man tried to stab a GOP candidate in California just last month. Numerous conservative offices have been vandalized, and one was even set on fire. Again, just last month. It's certainly not as serious as a serial bomber, but we can't pretend that there's violence only on one side. I mean, Antifa is about as left-leaning as you can get. This is what happens when the political rhetoric reaches a point at which the other side is seen as completely evil and immoral and something that needs to be destroyed. This is what happens when people assume that others' political views come from malicious motives rather than, say, just plain ignorance. When both sides are convinced that the other is hell-bent on destruction, people will do anything to try and protect their viewpoint and their way of life. It's likely that this pipe bomber is an example of exactly that. Violence is certainly not the answer, but you can't constantly put out into the airwaves that anyone right of center is destroying the world and not expect someone, somewhere, to react. That is your Liberty-related news for the week. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop me a comment down below. Hit the little notification bell. And if you really like my videos and want to help support my channel in other ways, you can do so over at Patreon or through a one-time donation through PayPal, Litecoin, or Bitcoin. As always, thank you so much for watching and helping me to spread the message of liberty.